Alright, what's up, guys? I got like an hour before the fucking stock market opens. It is 7:30 in the morning here, and I did not do my laundry last night, so I figured, fuck it. We get another episode of me doing, shut up, me doing some sort of household chore while talking to a camera, right? This one's kind of on a topic I've wanted to talk about for a long time, but like I haven't figured out a good way to like parse it right. But I've been getting like a lot of new ideas, I guess, from a bunch of different sources, I guess. And it's basically like on the idea of like, are you sorry? Right? Like when you say you're sorry. So, a personal pet peeve of mine is, and this might completely have missed you up until I say it, okay? When people start every discussion, every conversation with me with an apology. Now, it took me a long time. I'm going to stop doing the fucking towel next to the camera like that. Because I look white as shit because of the fucking ring light. But maybe white everything wasn't the right attire for this. I'm sorry. But starting every conversation with an apology has become probably my biggest thing that I've noticed that I absolutely can't stand from people, right? And I didn't notice it for a long time. That like they're like I would constantly, see, oh, I'm sorry that this happened, blah blah blah. When I didn't ask, like, the question of like what's going on, buddy, type shit. No, it would literally just be like an unprovoked apology, and I would be wondering like I don't care, like whatever you have told me is not significant, like, to the point of me caring. Why are you apologizing? And I would make it known, right? And I'm well aware of people who apologize too much, right? Because this is a conversation I've had with these individuals. And they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I just apologized too much. I'm like, you're not sorry. Like, you're not sorry, and that's okay. Like, stop saying you're sorry if you're not sorry, because it cheapens the apology. Boy who cried wolf type shit, right? And it just kept happening with like a lot of people, right? And I would just not, like, I have my own personal character flaw, my own personal problem, into which I like have different degrees in which you can lie to me before it becomes enough that I have to say something, right? Most of the time, little lies that I either can't like disprove or don't care about, I'll never really bring up, right? I think there's plenty of times where you're just like, bro, like, you're lying. You're lying, but I'm not going to say any shit to you because there's nothing like that it changes, right? But like there would be things that people would say to me, and I would just like, it would be too much for me to be like, okay, I'm just gonna let that slide, right? And like one of the big ones, I guess, is kind of like near and dear to my own heart, and that is the whole like, I'll be there for you. I don't tell people that. I have not told people that in fucking years. And that sounds pretty bad, like, with no further context, right? I don't tell people I'll be there. And it comes from an even more depressing afterthought. If I tell you I'm going to be here tomorrow, and then I walk out of my door and someone puts a bullet in the back of my head, I've not lied to you. Right? And people are going to interpret that as different things, right? Like, no, you didn't lie to them, like, shit happens, blah, 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 but no. But, like, my word on what I say to you means so much that I'm not willing to tell you a lie, even if that lie wouldn't be my fault, right? Like, I'm not willing to tell you I'm going to be here tomorrow, and then if I die, I won't be here tomorrow. Like, I'm not willing to allow that to happen, so that's why I don't say that, right? Like, that's what that means to me. And I'm not willing to say that's, like, the best way or whatever, because, like, realistically, probably not. But that's my interpretation of the world, and to each is their own, I suppose. But basically, you know, like I take word in that high of regard. So when people would start every conversation with me with, I'm sorry that I haven't messaged you in 5 days or whatever. Like, I'm like, you're not? And that's okay. Just stop telling me you're sorry. Like, I don't, like, look, I'm a very low maintenance person, very low maintenance. And I know for some people, like, I know my place in their lives, right? Like, you gotta play your role. You gotta understand, like, you are this to this person, right? And then you make your judgment on whether or not that's an acceptable place for you, right? I'm gonna use a heinous example of this, the friend zone, right? If there's a guy who you really like and all he sees you is like a relationship prospect, or not at all, and then you friend zone him, which is just like, you know, you don't want to fuck him, right? Or don't want to be involved with him romantically, then, like, you know, like, fucking, you know your role, they know their role, like, that's like, it's just like, you guys don't want the same thing, right? Me, I know my place with a lot of people, right? So I'm willing to play the role of, like, oh, you will only wish to message me when these factors are in place. Okay, I understand that. Like, we don't have to say it. Like, because it'll make you feel bad to say, oh, I only message you when this, that, right? Like, I don't care, dude. I don't care, dude. Like I said, I just put an analogy where I'm getting my brains blown out. My give a fuck for conversation is very low, right? Like, it's just a conversation. It's a very low stakes situation to be a part of, right? And I don't hold people, like, if I text someone, I don't hold them to the expectation of, like, you need to text me back or else I'm gonna scream and cry, right? Like, no, it's just conversation, right? It's just a conversation. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to notice if behaviors are being pointed out that are just lies. Because I don't notice shit unless you're starting to lie to me, right? Like, if you didn't apologize, I would never figure it out, right? Like, because I wouldn't be paying attention because I don't care, and that's not a big deal to me, and that's okay, you know? But it's when you keep saying, I'm sorry, at the first message, that I'm really wondering, like, one, are you sorry? And two, do I want to start every conversation with you with an apology from you? Right? I've told people this, like, yeah, I know that you require an apology. Like, you need to say you're sorry a lot of times, right? But when I've made it clear that these are not things that are, like, big to me, like, I feel like now I'm not being heard, right? And that doesn't work for me, right? Like, your apology does not benefit either of us. It's just you, like, self-serving, like, a toxic idea to yourself. And, like, if it was benefiting you, then I could, like, sit there and be like, okay, this is fine, right? But it's not. It's not. It's just a leftover trauma habit, right? And if it's not benefiting you and it's not benefiting me, and it's a lie, that's just not a good deal. Right? So, you know, I implore everyone to kind of, you know, ask yourselves, when you apologize, like, are you actually sorry? Like, because, you know, again, it's like the boy who cried wolf. You want to make sure that your apologies are fucking worth something, right? And the thing is, the apology is not the end of or the saying I'm sorry is not the end of the apology. The end of the apology is doing better, right? And this is something I'll touch on a different video because this one's already getting kind of long. But basically, like, saying you're sorry is not the end. It's the beginning, right? You don't just say you're sorry and then everything's done, right? No, you say you're sorry and then you do better, right? And that was the thing that I think was really getting me in my head, right? Was the fact that that's how I understand apologies. I don't just understand apologies to be, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Because it starts to really sound like you're not sorry, right? But when someone says, I'm sorry, I'll do better, and then they do better, and then you never have to hear about that again, that shows you, at least to me, because I take shit personally, again, probably one of my problems, that it's like, you know, it's just like, you're actually wanting to do better, and that's like what I'm worth, right? So I implore you, if you have the issue of apologizing a lot, really ask yourself, are you sorry? Or are you saying sorry because it's a leftover trauma habit? And if it's a leftover trauma habit, is it making your situation better? If it is, carry on, who gives a fuck what I think, right? And if it's not, it's typically good to reassess something that's not working and change it for the better, right? Like, that goes for everything in life, right? Like, if you are in any situation and whatever you're doing is just not working out, right? Whatever you're doing is just not benefiting you in the ways that you are hoping it would, it's probably in your best interest to change that and do something that will, in fact, benefit you. And if that shit is just not doing it for you, then why are you still doing it, right? And I know you're still doing it because it's a habit, right? But just like every habit, just like every addiction, right? Breaking it is probably the best option if it's not benefiting you, right? Like, you know. I'm kind of interested to see if anyone else kind of feels the same way that I do on this. I'm not using this to, like, reinforce any of my feelings or whatever, because I know, like, these feelings I have are probably, like, narcissistic and shit. Like, I know that the shit's not about me, right? But you'll have to forgive me if I feel some type of way after hearing I'm sorry over and over and over again with no changes. But, you know, again, like I said, like, I'm not perfect. Maybe that's my character flaw. So, I genuinely would like to hear from you guys. Whether you apologize too much, you know, what you mean by it, what you want to do, like, if this changed your opinion on something, if this helped you see, like, wow, I didn't realize that, you know, certain individuals do actually apologize literally every single time I talk to them, and that's not cool, because they're using me as an outlet to vent their, like, they're using me as something to propel their excuses or whatever onto. Like, dude, I don't care that you were 5 minutes late. Don't tell me a 30-minute story about it, right? You know, in theory, if you've wasted 5 of my minutes by being late, don't waste 30 more telling me bullshit, like lying to me. Because if you start to waste my time like that, that's one of those things, like I said, like there's certain lies that I can ignore and there's certain ones that I cannot, right? And I will just start to, honestly, bro, honestly, this happened. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. We can just continue to have our lovely day, and I can ignore this up until the point that you start lying to me to self-serve your ego, right? Do not use me as that, right? Because that's not a role I'm willing to play. So, like, are you sorry? Or are you just not trying to feel bad for doing something that's admittedly probably bad, right? If you fuck up, say you're sorry and do better, right? Like, saying you're sorry or blaming it on something. Like, if you say, oh, I'm sorry, my alarm clock went off, like, okay. But does that mean that you will never be late again because you're going to do better in the future? Or does that mean I can just expect you to be late because your alarm clock is not going to go off? If you know me personally, this is something that I'm guilty of and that I don't apologize for. Like, because I'm not sorry. Because it's going to happen again, right? I do my best to, like, not, but it's me, right? And I accept that I'm going to do that, right? Like, and I'm going, like, but I don't apologize for it because I'm not sorry. Because if I was sorry, I would consciously make an effort to do better in the future. But I'm not sorry. So are you. And if you are, what are you doing to make it better in the future, right? Because if you care about the interpersonal relationships enough to make a conscious apology and try to make up an excuse or try to find the reason or try to even make up a reason, all of that energy can be dedicated to be doing better and preserving that interpersonal relationship, right? So, are your friends not worth it? Those are just my thoughts on it. I have kind of some offshoots of this topic that I want to get to, but like I said, today's video is long enough. I want to thank you guys for watching. I am not anywhere near done with these clothes. It's like 3 loads of laundry I've procrastinated on. But yeah, I want to hear what you guys got. Like, whether you agree, disagree, anything. I never believe what I say is correct, like, is finite, is the end-all be-all answers to anything, right? I'm not a fucking preacher, okay? I'm just a guy with opinions who has something wrong with his brain where he doesn't interpret information the same way that normal people do, and maybe that perspective can help you guys reach your own perspective and see the world through a little bit of a different way for as long as I'm here and uploading videos or live. But, yeah. I guess that's it. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace, peace.